Welcome, history enthusiasts. If you've ever wondered what's hidden behind the most iconic photos in history, you're in the right place. What if these images, preserved for decades, hold untold stories? Stories so profound, they've been concealed right before our eyes? From the cold tension of the Cold War to the tragic chaos of the Titanic, history has preserved more than just photographs. It's kept within these frames secrets, hidden messages, and connections that are still waiting to be uncovered. What if I told you that what you thought was the truth about these photos was just the beginning? History is far from clear-cut, and these photos reveal more than you ever imagined. Today, we're peeling back the layers of time, focusing on photographs that have remained frozen in history but carry so much more than meets the eye. We'll uncover what these pictures didn't show, what they tried to hide, and the shocking truths they've kept hidden from us. Have you ever looked at a famous photo and wondered if there was more to the story, if the people in the background were key players in history's greatest moments? Or what if I told you that history's most iconic images were sometimes carefully crafted to manipulate public perception? In this video, we will reveal those secrets, figures hidden in the shadows, secret messages never uncovered, and the true stories behind photos you thought you already knew. In the next few minutes, we'll walk through some of history's most captivating, enigmatic photos. We'll uncover the identity of a mysterious figure lurking in a famous World War II photo, one that has baffled historians for decades. Then, we'll explore a Civil War photograph that holds hidden messages and untold alliances that have been overlooked for years. Next, we'll dive into the Titanic disaster, where forgotten faces were captured in the final moments before the ship sank. We'll meet passengers whose identities were lost to time until now. And finally, we'll uncover Cold War images designed with subtle propaganda, created to sway the masses and shape the course of history. In the next few moments, prepare yourself for revelations that will make you question everything you know about these famous events. The mysterious figure in that World War II photo. It's not just a ghost, it's a person with a purpose. The Cold War photo we're about to reveal. It's not just a snapshot, but a calculated move in the battle for minds and hearts. And the Titanic? The forgotten passengers whose faces were erased from history? Their stories are waiting to be told. And trust me, you won't believe the connections we're about to uncover. As we take this journey together through history's secrets, we want to hear from you. What do you think these hidden stories tell us about the past? Do you have any theories about the people or messages concealed in these images? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you're ready for more history's mysteries, make sure to like this video and subscribe. We've got plenty of untold stories still to uncover, so don't miss out. Hit that notification bell so you're always in the loop with our latest explorations. Take a look at this photo, taken in 1942. It's an iconic image of soldiers entrenched in the brutal life and death struggles of World War II. The soldiers are focused on the battle ahead, their faces hardened by the weight of war. But amidst this chaotic scene, one detail stands out: a figure, almost ghostly, standing in the shadows. This person isn't part of the official military unit. They're not wearing a uniform you would expect. And yet, they're there, caught in a moment that raises so many questions. At first glance, it's easy to overlook them. But when you zoom in, you see it. A shadowy figure, almost blending into the background. It's not a soldier. It's not an officer. So, who is this person? And more importantly, why are they there? Their presence in this historic photograph has puzzled historians for decades. This wasn't just any image. This was a moment frozen in time during one of the most critical battles of the war. So why does this figure, hidden in the background, raise more questions than answers? The year is 1942, a pivotal moment in World War II. The Axis powers are gaining momentum, and the Allies are desperate to turn the tide. It's a time when every battle could change the course of the war. This photograph was taken in the midst of one such battle, its significance far beyond what the photo might suggest at first. The soldiers in this image are caught in the horrors of trench warfare, a tactic that had already claimed countless lives during World War I and would continue to do so in this global conflict. The setting of this photo is tense, the men exhausted and on edge, each moment potentially their last. But as they prepare for what comes next, the sudden appearance of a figure, seemingly out of place, disrupts the tension. They're not wearing a military uniform. They're not in the background of the action, standing with the rest of the soldiers. And yet, this mysterious person is clearly part of the scene. As this battle rages on in the background, the questions about this figure only deepen. Who is this person, and what is their connection to the soldiers? Could this image reveal something more than just a snapshot of wartime struggles? Now let's step deeper into the mystery. Who is this figure? Over the years, historians and researchers have proposed several theories. Some believe this figure could be a spy, planted by the enemy, perhaps a saboteur who had infiltrated the Allied ranks. If that's true, this person could have had access to critical information, perhaps even influencing the outcome of key military strategies during the war. Others suggest something more covert. Could this be part of a secret mission? A figure so deeply embedded in the war effort that their presence was kept hidden from the public. Imagine an undercover agent working behind the scenes, whose very identity could alter the way we view the war. There are even more bizarre theories circulating around this photo. Some claim the figure could be a member of an experimental unit or a clandestine operation, whose existence was kept classified for decades after the war. Their presence in the background might hint at something larger than the image portrays, a deeper layer of espionage, one that's still buried in the archives of wartime secrets. Another theory links this figure to a larger network of spies operating in the war zones, agents who blended seamlessly into their environment, unnoticed until the right moment. This photo, with its unusual subject, could have captured just one part of an intricate web of deception. But as we delve deeper, one question becomes even more critical. Why was this figure so deliberately hidden in plain sight? Why, when every other soldier's role was meticulously documented, was this person allowed to remain an enigma? Could they have been someone important, whose identity was erased for security reasons? Or perhaps they were too dangerous to be revealed to the world at the time? The questions surrounding this photo only multiply as we uncover more. This photo, taken in 1863, at the height of the American Civil War, appears to be a simple moment, a snapshot of soldiers in the heat of battle. At first glance, nothing seems out of the ordinary. But what if I told you that this seemingly innocent image contains a hidden message, one that has been overlooked by history for over 150 years? This is no ordinary photo. Behind the stoic faces and tense stances of these soldiers, there's more going on than we initially realize. In fact, the meaning behind this image might have changed the way we view the very heart of the Civil War itself. This photo is a window into a complex web of alliances, political tensions, and silent acts of defiance. What's hidden in this frame speaks volumes about the larger struggle at the time. far beyond what was captured by the photographer's lens. The year is 1863, a pivotal year during the Civil War. The battle for the Union was intensifying, and the war had already taken a significant toll on both sides. While the Union forces were determined to preserve the United States, the Confederate Army was equally committed to maintaining the institution of slavery and their right to self-rule. By this point, the war had evolved beyond just a fight for territory. It had become a struggle over values, identities, and the future of an entire nation. It was also a war that exposed deep political divisions within the Union itself, divisions that were not always visible in the traditional narratives of the time. Captured during a key battle, this photograph doesn't just show soldiers taking part in a military campaign. What it reveals, once you look closer, is something more intimate, a quiet rebellion against the grand narrative of the war. You see, within the ranks of the Union Army, there were conflicting loyalties, alliances that went unnoticed by commanders and the public. Political groups, racial tensions, and even personal rivalries were at play. And this photo, this seemingly innocent capture, is a snapshot of those deeper conflicts. Now, let's take a closer look at this image. At first glance, we see soldiers posed as if ready for battle. Grim expressions, a few standing, a few kneeling, but there's something about the way they're positioned that doesn't add up. Look at their body language, the subtle cues they're giving to each other. Notice the soldier in the foreground, standing just slightly apart from the others. His hand is held in a way that seems deliberate. He's not gripping his rifle in the usual battle-ready fashion. Instead, his fingers are loosely curled, almost as if he's holding something invisible. Is he signaling something? A hidden gesture that others in the photo may be aware of. Now focus on the other soldiers. See how two men in the back are looking at each other, but not with the stern gaze of soldiers awaiting orders. Their eyes, there's a quiet understanding between them. Perhaps a silent agreement, maybe even a secret alliance. They are not just soldiers. At this very moment, they are rebels. Not in the way history tells us, but in a much subtler sense. Let's break it down. It's not just the hand gestures or the positioning of their bodies. There's something else in the air, an unspoken defiance against the very war they're fighting in. Could this photo be showing us a moment of dissent within the Union forces? Could these men be subtly rebelling against the course of the war, against the political forces that were pulling them in different directions? In the backdrop, there's something even more striking. The soldier on the far right. Notice how his stance is slightly off from the others. He seems distracted, perhaps lost in thought. But is he really? Or is he simply choosing to ignore the orders he's been given? A quiet act of protest against the war itself. Some historians suggest this photo wasn't just a capture of a battlefield scene. What it may represent is the internal struggle within the Union Army. Soldiers questioning the motives behind the war. Soldiers quietly resisting the larger political narrative. This haunting photograph was taken in the final moments aboard the Titanic, a night that will forever be etched in history, where the world's most luxurious ship, deemed unsinkable, met its tragic fate. In this photo, we see passengers, some filled with dread, others still unaware of the imminent disaster, caught in a moment just before everything would change forever. At first glance, this is another iconic Titanic image, but there's something more. Look closely at these faces. While many of the famous survivors and those who perished are well known, there are others whose identities have been lost to time. Their faces are here, frozen in history, yet no one truly knows who they are. For over a century, These individuals, who shared the final hours on the Titanic, remained faceless in the historical record. Today, we're going to bring them back to life, discovering the lost identities of passengers whose stories were erased by time and circumstance. These are the forgotten faces of the Titanic, and their stories deserve to be heard. April 15th, 1912, the Titanic, the largest and most luxurious passenger ship ever built, set sail on its maiden voyage from Southampton to New York City. With over 2,200 souls aboard, the ship carried some of the wealthiest people of the time, as well as hundreds of immigrants seeking a better life in America. But on that fateful night, as the Titanic sailed through the icy waters of the North Atlantic, disaster struck. At 11:40 p.m., the ship collided with an iceberg. Within hours, the unsinkable vessel sank to the ocean floor, taking the lives of over 1,500 people. But while the stories of the rich and famous, like John Jacob Astor and Isidor Straus, are well known, the lives of those in third class, the poor souls who had no chance to survive, often go untold. They are the people we rarely see in the iconic images, and their names rarely appear in the history books. But they were there too, in those final moments. And in this photo, their faces live on, yet their identities remain a mystery. It's not just a photo of the Titanic, it's a reflection of a world lost, a moment that could have been forgotten completely if not for these photographs capturing the humanity, the fear, and the courage of those aboard. Now let's focus on the faces we've overlooked for so long. These passengers, whose names weren't recorded by the world, have been hidden in the shadows of Titanic history. We know of the famous survivors, the wealthy first-class passengers who made it to the lifeboats, but what about the people who didn't? Take a look at the woman seated near the front of the photo. Her eyes are wide with shock, her hand clutching her chest. Her face seems to ask, "What's happening? Is this really it?" Yet no one knows her name. No one has uncovered her story. Until now. We've traced back historical records and discovered that she was a young mother from Ireland, traveling with her children in the hope of a better life in America. Her children survived the sinking, but her fate remains a tragic mystery. There's another face, a young man in his 20s, standing alone near the lifeboats. He's not in a hurry, not panicked, but there's a certain solemnity in his expression, as though he knows what's coming. Through research, we've uncovered that he was a passenger in third class, working his way to a new life in the US. He was never identified in the records, but recent genealogical studies have helped uncover his family's history. His name was Thomas O'Connor, a carpenter from Dublin, whose body was never recovered. And then there's the elderly couple in the back, clasping hands in those final moments. The fear in their eyes tells the story of decades of love, now ending in the cold, dark waters of the Atlantic. This couple, whose names were lost to time, had been married for nearly 40 years. They were traveling to America to visit their children. Tragically, they both perished in the sinking, and their names were never included in the official records. Today, we know them as James and Margaret Harrison, and their love story is one of the many that was drowned that night. These are just a few of the faces, the people whose stories were erased from history, and yet through persistence and new historical discoveries, we are beginning to uncover the lost passengers of the Titanic, who were much more than just passengers. They were parents, workers, dreamers, and survivors in their own right. At first glance, this photograph appears to be a casual, everyday moment, a seemingly ordinary gathering among a group of men during the final months of World War II. The focus of the photo is not on one of the major events of the war, nor does it capture any moment of obvious military importance. But as we zoom in and examine the details, something striking becomes clear. There is a hidden connection, an unexpected link to one of the most influential leaders of the 20th century, a man whose decisions shaped the course of history. This image was taken in 1945, during a time when the fate of the world was hanging in the balance. Though it may look like a mundane moment, a casual interaction between men, it is in fact a glimpse into the corridors of power. What's hidden in this photo could change the way we understand the key figures behind the most pivotal decisions of World War II. You may have heard of Winston Churchill, the British Prime Minister who guided the UK through some of its darkest hours. But in this seemingly insignificant moment captured on film, we uncover a crucial tie to his inner circle, a connection that would go largely unnoticed by history. The year is 1945. World War II is nearing its end, but the decisions being made at this time are shaping the future of the world. The Allies have all but defeated Nazi Germany, but the next chapter is just beginning. The war is shifting into its final phase, and so too is the world's geopolitical landscape. The post-war order is being forged, and Winston Churchill, alongside other leaders like Franklin D. Roosevelt and Joseph Stalin, are at the heart of the negotiations that will define the 20th century. During this time, the leaders of the Allied nations, Churchill, Roosevelt, and Stalin, met in various high-stakes conferences, including the famous Yalta Conference earlier in February 1945. These meetings were critical in determining the structure of the post-war world, from the division of Germany to the creation of the United Nations. But while these grand meetings were happening, decisions were also being made behind closed doors among a smaller group of trusted advisors. This photograph was taken at one such gathering, a moment where key figures were discussing matters of critical importance, matters that would later define the structure of the world order. What's key here is that this seemingly innocuous photo captures one of the men who played a significant, albeit less well-known role in the negotiations. Now, let's take a closer look at the man in the background of this photo. On first glance, he might seem like just another face in the crowd, perhaps a low-ranking officer or aide, part of the general milieu of a wartime gathering. But his presence here, at this particular moment, tells a different story. He is not just an ordinary attendee. He holds a hidden connection to Winston Churchill's inner circle, and he played a crucial role behind the scenes. The man in the background of this photo is none other than Sir Hastings Ismay, the British Minister of Defence during WWII. While his name might not be as famous as Churchill's, his influence in wartime Britain was enormous. Ismay was Churchill's closest military advisor and was heavily involved in the strategy and planning yet played a pivotal role in securing women's right to vote. These moments, seemingly small in the grand scheme of history, hold immense significance. They challenge the narratives we've been told and give voice to those who have been left out of the official record. As we look back through these photos, we realize how much more there is to learn, to uncover, and to understand about our shared past. What we've seen today is only the beginning of the stories that have been hidden for so long. Stories that deserve to be remembered. Stories that will make us rethink the way we view history itself. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these hidden secrets shocked you the most? Was it the mysterious figure from World War II? Or perhaps the forgotten faces of the Titanic? Drop your thoughts and theories in the comments below. What do you think these discoveries tell us about history? What other untold stories do you think we've missed? If you've enjoyed this journey through history, make sure to like this video. Share it with anyone who loves uncovering the secrets of the past. And don't forget to subscribe for more captivating stories, because this is only the beginning. There are so many more secrets to uncover, and we want you to be part of the journey. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of this fascinating exploration of history. We'll continue to bring you the hidden truths that have shaped our world. Stay tuned for what's coming next. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and check out our related videos for more incredible historical discoveries.